All right, well, welcome to our Destiny 2 preview video. My name is Glenn. I'm here with Dave, that we all lovingly call Destiny Dave, because he's our Destiny guru for PS Nation. So, good afternoon, Dave.
What's going on, everyone?
So, Dave got to go out to Seattle, not to Bungie, but to Seattle, and got to play a ton of Destiny 2. We're only allowed to talk about a certain amount of things right now, and we're able to reveal some more stuff later on, but we wanted to talk over this video and give people some information on what you saw, what you liked, what you maybe didn't like, and just your general impressions of what you're allowed to talk about right now.
Okay. First of all, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware, like, Bungie, Activision, they paid for everything, literally everything.
Yes,
So,
it was really awesome of them.
yeah, so it was all provided through them, and I'm very grateful for that. I got to go to Seattle and see a hotel and see a car and then see the plane again.
So it's like a typical event like this, where you literally you're just secluded the entire time,
right?
Sequestered, like a juror.
What we're going to talk about, and what some of you are going to see, obviously, is the European Dead Zone that I'm going to refer to as the EDZ, and it is referred to as the EDZ in the game and by all the devs.
All right.
So obviously, European Dead Zone.
So officially official, I would say.
Yeah, but I mean, when the game gives you things to do, it says go to the EDZ and do this, go to the EDZ and do that. So
okay.
It doesn't say the whole thing. So
now, whenever we play, I'm always going to call it European Dead Zone just to tick you off.
Yeah, because you're that guy. So.
Yes, I am that guy.
All right, so the European Dead Zone is an extension of Earth. Not even an extension, but another destination on Earth, not near the Cosmodrome. Cosmodrome was considered to be old Russia. European Dead Zone would obviously be in Europe. We have visited the EDZ in a couple of Crucible maps in Destiny 1. Maybe one map, maybe not more than one. But it has a very... I don't really know the core term I would use or not, but, European look. Sorry.
It looks very old school European. Like there's just cows mulling around and breweries everywhere as far as the eye can see. All the roads have no right angles whatsoever. They're all cobblestone.
So to set the basis of everything that I'm not going to spoil any of the story.
Bands of pickpocketers running everywhere.
Jeez. We're not destroying.
A little rapscallion running around in crews.
So obviously we know that the Cabal have attacked the last city on Earth and taken over the tower. And you, in the just like most of you played in the beta, you were kicked off of Dominus Gaul's ship after he took your light from you, and it progresses through. There's some pretty interesting stuff that goes on during that part in time, a couple of missions after that, but I'm going to leave that for you guys to experience personally, because it's really cool.
Yeah, it is.
So what we're looking at is the Cabal have taken over certain aspects of the EDZ, and there are things that you need to do to help. You run into Hawthorne, who is an NPC that is at the farm. She is kind of your main milestone giver. That's the first major change, as you heard me say the word milestone, not quest. So you do not have a quest screen anymore. You have this thing that, and you'll see it happen a couple times in the video, you have this thing that shows up on the bottom of your screen that says milestone achieved or new milestone given. You can access your milestones by bringing up the destination map and holding. You bring up the destination map by pressing down on the touchpad and holding it, and then you can bring up your milestones by pressing and holding L2.
All right.
And it'll list the things that you're working on. Do you need to do this in this many public events, this many whatever the next task may or may not be. The first major change that you're going to notice, like, right away, is there is a ton of activity going on when you spawn in. Okay. This is not spawning into a story mission and running and putting your ghost into a section and activating the horde mode because you passed a special line. This is you're down. You're essentially in a patrol-like setting, and then you're always going to be in this type of setting from what you're seeing and what you're going to be playing, you can walk over and start an adventure. You can walk over and start a campaign mission. You can trip on a lost sector. You can find a public event. You can just mess around with your new gun that you have, and you'll literally run into enemies in the first 4 steps that you take when you spawn into the EDZ. Next thing...
Can you try to talk it out? Is that a new feature as well?
The Cabal and the Fallen are fighting like crazy. Maybe you can be a peacemaker.
Ah, there you go.
The next thing that is dramatically different from D1 is that there is a character. I always mess his name up, so let me see if I can find it on here. Devrin K.
Jonathan Miller.
Yeah. His name is Devrin K. So when the first time you spawn into the EDZ, you're sent there by Hawthorne from the farm to fix whatever's going on. And some people know and some people don't know. Hawthorne is not a guardian. So she does not possess light and things like that. And she's, essentially made the farm to protect the people, the refugees and stuff like that, from the last safe city that's not safe anymore.
Okay.
So she sends you to Devrin to check out what's going on in the EDZ. So this is your first interaction with another NPC, and you run into this church, which is very close to your first spawn destination in the EDZ. And you will see him, and he will talk to you about what is going on in the world, or in your destination, what he needs help with, and he is essentially like a vendor that you're used to from Destiny 1 in the tower. He sells gear. He gives you milestones to work on, and the European Dead Zone is his home, and you're trying to help him get it cleaned up and get it back to where it needs to be. One of the first things he sends you to do is to find a lost sector.
Okay.
So lost sectors are new to Destiny 2, and they are. So when you were in Destiny 1 and you were kind of exploring the area, you would come across a cave, and I'm actually going to ask Glenn a question, so we have a little bit of interaction here. You'd go into a cave. You'd go into a cave, and you'd find what? Maybe.
Once out of every 80 times you might find a chest.
Okay. And what was in the chest?
Usually bullshit. It was usually bullshit.
Yes.
That
correct.
you didn't need.
So, and sometimes
unless it was that one loot cave that was glitching out, that was just throwing stuff constantly, but usually it was stuff that you didn't need.
Correct. So a little bit of planetary material, a little bit of glimmer, stuff.
Yeah, little sparkle.
So now you could be moving around the area, and you'll see this this dot spray painted on the wall with 2 arcs above it.
Okay.
And that is a symbol for the lost sector. That tells the players that there is something close. There is a lost sector near where you are. Now, it's part of your, in that lost sector is, stuff to be looted and found. Yeah. So, so you need to try to find it. It could be above you. It could be below you. It could just be behind the wall, which some of them are very easy and some of them are a little bit more challenging. But you're essentially looking for a obscure way to enter around the area of where the lost sector is, and you'll go into the lost sector, and it's not just a little room that you go in there and you trigger off some stuff. There's a small basic puzzles, I wouldn't really even call them puzzles, but an area to traverse to get through. And then you'll see something that says lost sector discovered, and when you discover it'll show up on your lower left corner, like right above your HUD. When you see that, you know you're on the right path, and you will clear out some of the enemies. You'll have to fight a major, a yellow bar enemy, a high, damage enemy.
Dick. Let's just say it. A dick.
So, and when you're fighting him, you whether you're solo or you're with a teammate, then once you defeat him, you get a cache key, and you have a lost sector box that you can loot, and you can open up that box and you'll get loot.
Nice.
So I can't really speak to, not that I'm not allowed to. I don't know how that will work as you get closer to the end game. So the characters that we did play, we were able to level them up, but we did not complete things to kick off other things.
Okay.
So I'm speaking vaguely on purpose. I apologize.
Oh, no, sometimes you have to.
So I don't know, if there's going to be one of those things where you can open this chest and always get 2 blues, or if you're going to start getting legendaries and exotics and whatnot out of there. So
right.
There are lost sectors scattered throughout the European Dead Zone like crazy. I mean, there's probably 15 or 17 of them on the destination.
Oh, okay.
So while that's going, while you're, a lot of times you're going to trip onto a lost sector on your way to an adventure. Adventures are new as well. These are fully narrated side missions, essentially. They add additional story content to the main story. What I mean by them being fully narrated is like Hawthorne could be talking to you, and Devon Kane could be talking to you, and other characters in the game could be talking to you about what you're doing and why you're doing it or what you're encountering. So there is a lot of music and a lot of chatter and a lot of things going on instead of just like dense emptiness that kind of happened with Destiny 1 over time.
Sure.
So, but the adventures are just additional content to the story of, like you're finding things out, you're learning things about the world, you're learning things about why the Red Legion is doing what they're doing, or how this gigantic ship got here that all of a sudden like crashed into Earth. So like these are all things that are generating additional things for you to do in the game, and everything that you're doing, for those, again, while we're watching the video, like you're in the space with other random players and your fire team. You're not in this space independently. So if you run into a public event, there could be 20 or 30 of you working on the public event at the same time.
Oh.
They could come into the lost sector with you if they're in. I don't know if it's going to do that whole thing where it separates instances like it did in Destiny 1, where if you went into a different quadrant of the destination where it like rematch made you. Because we were playing in a very closed environment for that.
Sure.
But there are, plenty of things to scan and, just random treasure boxes throughout. And all those treasure boxes give you things, as of now, that you are using, and you're like, okay, that was worth the 5-foot excursion over there to get that.
All right. For
As
now,
of
you're
now.
saying that. For now, yes.
Yes. I don't know.
Anything could change by the time the game comes out.
You're right.
And God, what, 3 weeks? 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's close. Like 15, something like that.
Yeah.
I know my kids go back to school like in 15 days, and that means the game comes out like 2 days after that or something like that.
That's when I get my new PS4 Pro.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Just because you brought it up, just so everybody, because it might be a question, the only upgrade the Pro is giving you right now is 4K.
Right.
The game doesn't run it. They still haven't spoken HDR or anything like that. Those words haven't come out of their mouths, but HDR is supported on original stock PS4s and everything as well.
Right, and HDR is in the PC version they said today, so you would think that they would put that code in the console versions as well.
Right. So we'll see. But,
you would hope.
Yeah. If you have a great enough TV, good for you.
Yep.
Or two, like Glenn has.
I only have one HDR TV.
So, public events as well have gotten a pretty big change. And like I was saying, all this stuff you could be working on an adventure, and Glenn and I could be playing and working on an adventure, and all of a sudden he looks to his right and he sees a lost sector. We can just go over there and work on the lost sector, and then come back out and continue on the adventure. Like when nothing is blocked off. Nothing is like, oh, you're on this line and you can't defer from this line. You could run into a public event. You could work on the public event. You could run into a high value target, which is again just a random yellow bar major that just spawns, and it'll show up on your screen like high value targets in the area. You kill the high value target. Take some time, take some teamwork, working on him a little bit. You kill him. He drops a loot box. You pick it up. It's got stuff in it you need.
You hope.
Level you up higher.
For the other class that you're not running.
No, they fixed all that. So like all of that is going on. Again, like you're not going to orbit and coming back down to start another story mission. You're not going to orbit and coming back down to start patrols. Like you just press and hold the touchpad, click a new thing that you want to do on your destination map, and go to it. There's a flag over to your right that's a story mission. You know what? I don't want to do that yet because there's a public event over here to my left. Go do the public event and then go start the story mission. Like it's the open worldness that they've been promising us is there. And socially playing, you could have 3 people on your fire team, and then, like I said, you could have 6 or 7 other people working on that public event with you. And the reason why you want those people working on that public event with you is because that public event gives you loot as well. And there's also a way to kick off what are now called heroic public events.
Okay.
Each public event has a small puzzle to it that needs to be figured out. Some of them, when I was playing, we figured them out. Some of them we didn't.
Oh God! So us as a fire team are gonna have to figure out a puzzle. We're doomed. We're doomed because the people we play with.
Yeah. So, but like it could be something as like there was one public event going on. No, that was on a different destination. I can't talk about that. There was one going on where you like there were servitors that spawned, or one major servitor spawned, and he would get shielded by the other ones. If you killed the other servitors that were shielding him, all three of them within a certain time frame, I believe, it triggered the heroic public event, and that changed the aspect of the public event a little bit. I think another servitor showed up, or a little bit more of a challenge piece showed up, and you're obviously up against a time limit.
Yeah, some of that's actually in the beginning of the video that we're going to be putting up. So.
Yeah, so when you see those things, it lets you know that you triggered a heroic public event. It'll say heroic public event active or something like that. And then as you're going through that, once you complete that public event, you get loot and extra loot for doing the heroic thing.
Nice.
Decent stuff started dropping the higher I got.
Okay.
You will see... I can't get too much into the investment system. I'm not allowed to, but you will see and they knew that this was happening, so that's why I can briefly talk about this. You will see something that drops when you level up past the level cap. You will see something drop that is called a Bright Engram.
Okay.
Bright as in B-R-I-G-H-T.
How else do you spell bright?
You know, I'm making sure that people understood what I was saying. Not a right engram, you know. But that engram is traded in for some pretty cool stuff. So that's as far as I'm allowed to go with that. Sorry.
That's fine.
Just going through like everything, like there's also these regional chests that award you items in the world that you need to trade things back in. There's a very deep investment system for the destination, and there are plenty of things to strive for and to do.
Sure.
So the thing that I'm most taken back by is the playing Destiny 1 for as long as I did and getting so used to the linearness of that game, which it did essentially turn into as a very linear game.
Oh, definitely.
The thing that impresses me the most is like I stepped away from it after playing it for a little while, and I realized like the European Dead Zone is essentially its own social hub.
Okay.
And
I mean, are they even doing like a tower thing, or is that what the farm is?
The farm is essentially the tower.
Okay, so then when you go to the EDZ, it's more like just a giant area, and there's also kind of some social stuff in there as well, so it's almost a hybrid.
Yeah, the social stuff, yeah, like it was one of the weirdest things that I did, and you'll see it in the video. Like, you walk up to Devon Kane, and there's all this stuff going on around you. You can hear it going on. You're up in an area where you're safe, like where no enemies are coming up into that high-end part of the church.
Okay.
So, like, you're safe where you are, like, but you can still hear, like, the Fallen Ket ship flying in right in front of the church, and the Cabal... I don't know what else to call them, but the Cabal balls landing landing on the ground and
balls
and hitting the ground and then fighting, and the like, because some of the public events are like glimmer drilling, where they're drilling for glimmer and you're trying to stop them from doing it. Like it appears that the Cabal is like trying to like harvest this planet. Okay. And like these are all things, and the Fallen are fighting them because they're taking their space, and you're fighting them because you don't like the Fallen and you don't like the Cabal. You know, because the Cabal took all your stuff, like all your stuff. And so like there's, you know, like, and you'll see on the video as well, and we'll talk about it, like bounties are gone. Like, you don't go to the Crucible vendor and get stuff to do. You don't go to the Vanguard and get stuff to do. Like,
which I'm okay with, because I always hated when we'd get into like a strike or something, and all of a sudden, I forgot to go get the stupid bounties.
So, but they're replaced by challenges. You'll see challenges pop up on the right-hand side of the screen during the video. You click the touchpad once, and it'll say something like, complete a lost sector in this area.
Wait, it won't be in the video. We can't show that, can we?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
You'll see it on the, because like the main thing that they've been like, that, you know, Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy like stressed to us tremendously at this event, was they were about getting you to the action and keeping you in the action as much as possible. And it was a lot of, you know, in D1 it was a lot of do this, go to orbit, go to the tower, go back to orbit, go do this, go back to orbit, go back to the tower. There was a lot of that. I never really felt the need to go back to my social space.
Sure.
There was, always something to do, always something to work on. Something would drop, you would check it out, and it's all about, staying in combat, staying in there, and continuing to work on it. And that's how challenges are as well. So challenges will say complete a lost sector in this section of the EDZ. You go do that, you get 100% of it done, and it automatically gives you your reward for completing that challenge.
Cool.
You get 3. It appears that you're getting 3 challenges per day.
Okay. Because didn't we have? Wasn't it 5 or 6 in the first game?
Per destination, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, so in D1, you'd go there and you'd have, 6 bounties. It would say, kill this many Cabal, kill this many Thrall, defeat this many people with a fire weapon, defeat this many people with a whatever. And then you would complete those, and that would be your daily bounties. It appears that there are, and I don't know for sure, but if I had to guess, there are challenges for each destination.
Sure. Okay.
So we know that Nessus is a destination because we've all been there on the beta. So you spawn into the EDZ, you do your challenges for the EDZ for that day, you do a couple lost sectors, you loot your public events, and then you go to Nessus, and I believe that there will be new challenges for Nessus.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that aspect. The other thing that has been added is what are called flashpoints.
Okay.
Flashpoints, depending on how Glenn does or doesn't edit this video, flashpoints will appear near the end.
You never know.
Right. So, and it's really hard for you you'll see that I'm working, when you're watching through the video, you'll see that I'm working on a flashpoint because you'll constantly see me touch, press and hold the destination, pull the destination up, and hold down L2 to see the percentage of public events that I completed. Flashpoints are catered towards solo players. Primarily. That's
actually cool.
Mm-hmm. So what they are
something
is,
like that.
Yeah. So what it is that it's very easy, and it appears to be easy. So you go and you will get there'll be a featured destination per week, and that featured destination will give you a consumable, like a book that you need to fill out, or not to fill out, but a milestone that's given to you that says complete 5 public events on the EDZ. So you go and their goal with this is that the EDZ will be the featured destination for that week, and there will be plenty of people that hop on Tuesday night to do their reset stuff, and then some people that don't get on until Friday night, or some people that can only get on Wednesday morning. And what they're hoping is that everybody will want to do these public events because they got to get their 5 public events in for the week, so that it'll be kind of craziness like I talked about of 20-25 people working on public events at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Helping to trigger, I think this is good and I think this is bad. The cool thing about it is they're giving solo players a way to get Nightfall tier, endgame tier rewards for completing these 5 public events.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yes. You complete these events and you go back to the farm. You turn your milestone in. You get something cool. Like maybe it's an exotic. Maybe it's a great legendary. You get something cool for your effort. So in theory, somebody over time could never do a Nightfall, could never do a raid, and could play through these flashpoints weekly and get max light gear.
Oh, okay.
So it might take a little while. You're limiting, like I've talked about in my reviews and my videos and stuff like that before, like you're limiting the amount of drops that you can get if you're like, I'm just not going to take the effort to try to raid with anybody, or I can't find a team to do the Nightfall. You can get really good rewards by doing the flashpoint. But, like me, I'll do the flashpoints. It might be with a group, it might be by myself, but, for somebody like me that doesn't have a problem, finding a group to raid with or to do things like to where I get the opportunity to get more drops, this is another drop, a drop scenario for me to get something that I'm chasing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we hear people all the time, in emails and on the forums, etc., that, I don't want to play with people. I want to be able to play these games on my own. And I thought that the first Destiny kind of didn't really give that opportunity to people. It almost made you play it with people no matter what. I mean, You
in the
could do some
beginning for
stuff.
sure.
Yeah, and I think that pushed some people away. So the fact that they're
Absolutely. So
the fact they're actually making the effort to kind of push this type of gameplay now is really cool.
yeah, I mean they're definitely trying to cater to as many people as possible, the best way as possible, but at the same time still trying to hold the integrity of what Destiny has become, which is a very, very cool, solid shared world shooter.
Says you.
You can see it in the video, and I'll tell you, like, the shooting mechanics are the same, if not better. The way that the weapons feel, the loadouts, isn't a problem. Like, everybody was kind of concerned about, I'm not going to be able to run sniper, rocket launcher anymore. Like, there are some, they even hinted to us, there are some pretty cool things that will happen depending on how you run your loadouts and what you do with some certain things and stuff like that. Jeez. So, there are some really cool surprises in this game. There are some really nice things for veteran players, but at the same time that they won't leave new players out. They did a really good job of like balancing that back and forth.
Sure.
At my event, I was sitting to my right. I was sitting next to somebody that I know that has played Destiny a lot, and to my left, I was playing against a guy that said he played Taken King for like 10 hours.
Huh.
So, he would look over in my screen and be like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I would kind of like show him what I'm doing and how I'm doing things, and he's like, "Oh, okay."
Why would you send somebody like that to an event anyway?
I don't know, but he was into the game. Like he just like he said he was a really big story guy. So
okay,
we'll find
sure.
out. We'll find out if he's.
Unfortunately, that means he didn't play Destiny very much.
Correct. But the changes and things like that they've made that some people have been freaking out about and things like that, I think that you need to play the game. Like, if you like Destiny 1, I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised with some of the stuff that they have in store for you.
Sure.
But so you'll see, like, I'm playing on a Titan, so I played primarily with the Sentinel, the new subclass where you can throw the shield. I had a lot of fun throwing the shield.
Yeah.
I spec'd into double shield throws and stuff like that, so I was having a good time with all of that. I ran into a situation where I had completed a lost sector in a quadrant of the EDZ that so when you look on your destination map, everything will not light up, but everything will have a white tint to it. So like all of the regional chests, the lost sectors, the other areas of things that you want to explore, they'll have a text, like, they won't be grayed out. So, okay. But once you complete them, they do kind of slightly gray out. You can see that they're there. And I was assigned a challenge to complete a lost sector in this quadrant, and I actually was like, "Well, so I pulled my my map up and I looked at it, and I'm like, "Well, I already did that one." So you can go back and redo them, and you will get you'll get credit for looting the lost sector. I didn't really get a lot of loot from it. I don't really think I got any engrams from it. I might have got EDZ coin.
And the thing is, with those type of things, with like loot drops and everything, I would almost expect that is going to change pretty drastically from how you saw it by the time the game comes out, just because they were probably they were very close. They said to us that they were very, very, very close, but this is not the final build, and it's public knowledge. There is a pretty massive day one patch hitting. Right. So we were very close. I personally feel like our XP was kind of ramped up a little bit. Probably. Yeah. So, I mean, you get people that are considered media to an event. They usually do that. They play it on super easy, and yeah. So okay. So we talked about public events. We talked about lost sectors. We talked about we didn't really talk about treasure maps. I didn't really get into those very much. There are these consumable things that you can pick up from the farm that will you activate them. They last for 4 hours, and they're almost like an expanded radar. Okay.
Where it'll show you it'll start showing up on your radar that there's you'll get a beacon on your radar that there's a chest.
Okay.
So you don't really have to like go into that cave to look for them. It could be it'll show up on your radar, or you'll get you'll hear the noise a little bit louder if you have this thing activated for that destination. So it's a good way to when you open up the chest on the EDZ, you get a coin. You can turn these coins in, and you can get loot from Devon K. So like I can't get too much into the investment system, but there are things that are worth your time.
Okay.
You open a chest, you get something. You open a different chest, you get something. You do a public event, you get something. You do a lost sector, you get something. You do an adventure, you get something. You do a story mission, you get something. You kill a high-value target, you get something.
Glimmer for you, and glimmer for you, and glimmer for everybody.
Not just glimmer.
I know. I'm just joking. I'm being the silly one because I don't know what to ask. Because I wasn't there playing it.
Right. You'll see in the video, or if you don't watch the video, like you're kind of, when you turn these tokens in, you're building reputation similar to like how you build faction reputation in Destiny 1. But I didn't see like a level, like, oh, you're level 24 with Devon K, or you're level 24 in the EDZ. I didn't see that. I can't say for sure, but it's on the video and they didn't make us take it out. It does not appear that 25K is the glimmer cap.
Oh, okay.
Which is very encouraging to a lot of players. I didn't really hit a glimmer cap, and I didn't spend a lot. So I had a pretty significant amount of glimmer. Like in the 70,000 to 80,000.
Which means they'll probably do away with your need for glimmer after level 10 or something like that.
I think that the build that I had, everything cost glimmer. Didn't have to, didn't cost glimmer in this or didn't cost glimmer in that. But they've talked about this as well. Like you're not going to be relying on purchasing items. You're going to be relying on earning them through engrams.
Oh, okay.
So it's not one of these things where we can go do ABC and you're going to get this much of this currency and you're going to go buy this gun and then you can infuse it, or whatever. So, but you'll see, like, again, I really encourage you to watch the video so you guys don't think I'm like a, blabbering idiot.
Too late.
But you'll see me go into a lost sector, and you'll see us go like deep into these like what look like old subway tunnels, and we're going like farther down into these areas, and all these lost sectors are different, and they're fully rendered, and there's enemies in them, and there's the major enemy that's in there, and then finding the loot chest that's in there, and then it tells you that you looted it, and then you come out, and all of a sudden you went in one cave, and you didn't really feel like you went that far, and you come out, and all of a sudden you're on the other side of the map.
Oh, wow.
Like you went through a significant amount of area, and you're like, wow, I'm like way over here, and it didn't really feel like that you went that far. But and then all of a sudden there's a
really small planet.
And then there's there's a public event spawning right next to you, so you're like, okay, let's go do that. And again, you're getting rewarded for all of your time. Like you're getting something that's gonna possibly get you higher level gear. Sure. Engrams are dropping. You'll see on the screen, like I'm getting stuff from everybody. Nice. It didn't feel like veering off to the side for 3 minutes was a waste of my time.
Nice.
I grouped up with one of the guys, and we were kind of playing as a fire team, playing off each other. Farming the orbs is always fun. Using the music is super cool, like it always has been. The animations of the enemies, like how they behave differently, like the Fallen now, how they used to do this kind of barrel roll thing to move away from you. They actually like almost kind of get on all fours and then run away or reposition themselves, and they move stupid fast.
Oh wow.
So like, and then like I want to stress like the adventures and stuff like that. Like as you're progressing through, like it's not about just streamlining through the story missions. Like it's experiencing the world, and if you want to get the most out of the game, it's in those adventures, it's in those side missions.
Sure.
Which, you don't even get to patrol until the last third of the campaign.
Okay.
Like it doesn't even unlock for you. Like there's a really each world each destination has its bones and its core that it wants you to find out. There are, we talked about this with the beta. We didn't really get to see it, but there are multiple landing zones on the destination on the European Dead Zone, and there is fast travel.
Well, then you don't need a sparrow. I mean,
there's only fast travel to the landing zones.
Okay, but I mean, it's still like. Would you say, in your experience with it, that the distance between where you were and where you need to go on average is the same amount of distance that was in the first game, or did you think it was less because you're now running it? And do you have a lot more encounters on the run to the next event?
Yes.
Okay.
You do. Yeah. So like,
you guys are gonna hate it, and it'll be me left alone like usual because I always have to get all the kills.
No, I'm not going to, because I'm going to be there with you, because there might be a high value target that's going to drop an engram that I need.
Well, there you go.
Or he's going to drop not only might he drop an engram, he drops his entire like a chest falls out of him. Like a loot chest falls out of the character that you killed. But there's there's the constant looking for things. You'll see me on the video, like traversing some areas. I'm playing with, again, I'm teamed up with a friend of mine that was sitting next to me, and we're looking, we're talking to each other. We're kind of like, each one of us are kind of playing with like one headphone off, and we're kind of talking to each other about where we're looking for things. You'll see the ghost like ping up on the screen, like there might be a scannable area, or he's telling you that there's a chest. And then, trying to find the chest, and it's not just go into a cave or go around the wall. It could be above you. It could be below you. There's some verticality. Might be a brief 30-second jumping puzzle to get you up there. So maybe 45 seconds for Glenn because he has a hard time platforming in a first-person shooter.
Jumping puzzles, third person.
This is a first-person game that you're platforming in.
Well, sometimes they take it to third person though in that game.
Yeah, for certain things, but then
jump puzzles are bullshit.
But you'll see, like, when you see me open up this gold chest, like, you'll see one of them where I pull out, EDZ tokens that are redeemable, and I pull out a legendary engram. So, like, going to find these things is not a waste of your time anymore. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to get some spin metal that I'm never going to use again. Because if you're, like, somebody that plays a lot, like I was, you ended up sitting on, like, 3,000 spin metal. So, like, it's really cool. It's very open. I wouldn't say that it's you see that over there? You can go over there, because you can't.
Hey, I remember them saying that before.
The skyboxes are really cool. There's just the way that the European Dead Zone looks. It's lush. It's green. It's got buildings just destroyed, roads, bridges collapsed with water running over them. It just feels so much. It feels so much more alive than it did in Destiny 1, which is not too much of an improvement because Destiny 1 was kind of bland the more that you got into it. And I almost feel like this may start to feel like that, but it's still like you're there. I don't feel like that there's a level system. I'm wording this wrong. When you would play in Destiny 1, you'd spawn into a mission, and it might be light level 220. And you would see an enemy, and if you were under leveled, that enemy would be like red. And if you were like equal level to him, he'd be like white. But the enemies would have like numbers to them, like 40 or 20 or 15, or those numbers appear to be gone, and it appears to scale to you. So like when you go into this lost sector, and you don't have to worry about going into the first lost sector and getting pwned because your level's too low. Like it appears that it's catering to when you load into the lost sector that those enemies are going to be close to your power level.
Okay, so they try to keep it around. I mean, the first game was kind of like that in a lot of sections.
Yes, but I almost feel like when you are like getting close to end game and getting close to max level, and you go into that very first lost sector, you're just not going to go in there and wreck shop because those enemies are going to be geared towards your number.
Right.
So, and therefore that also would mean that the loot that you get from it would be geared towards your number, hopefully.
Well, and that's that gentle balance you have to worry about, because, I mean, that's kind of where I get pissy about games like this is, what's the point of going up in level? At least this is my mindset. What's the point of increasing your level all the time if your enemies as a whole are going to increase in level also, and they're always going to be a little bit above you? Maybe not, like 5 ranks above you or whatever, but they're always going to be a little bit above you. And yeah, I see how they're trying to keep a challenge and everything else, but it seems like that you're doing all this mountain climbing for nothing, because the mountain just keeps growing and growing and growing. You're never going to make it to the top. And that's why I get pissy about stuff like this every now and then. I get it, but I just kind of wish that there was a better way to do it.
But I'm okay with that. I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm 100% okay with that as long as the reward gets me higher than I was.
Sure.
And that appears to be what's in place right now. Again, I don't know. Like, I haven't seen the go do this and get this weapon. Like, we didn't see any of that. I'm not aware if that's even in the game or not. Like, where it's like, oh, if you go do this specific thing, you're going to get this. I'm sure that they're going to assign a milestone to you. That's a 12-step milestone that when you're done with it, you're going to get something, like, really cool for doing it. And it's going to be like, okay, Glenn, you have to do this milestone because the reward that you get from it is what you're going to need to help you with this week's Nightfall.
Sure.
So, and those systems are in place. They did, talk to us about, like, once you complete the base campaign, like, the world really does open up. I don't know if that means that more lost sectors show up. I didn't leave the destination map open an absorbent amount of time on the video. I don't know if Glenn's going to be talented enough to maybe hold it on there for 10, 15 seconds.
Probably not. I'm not that good at this.
You will see plenty of things. You'll see the diamonds in there for public events. You'll see the areas of where there's an adventure. You'll see a public event that's almost done. You'll see a regional chest that hasn't been looted. You'll see a different lost sector that you may have done or you may have not. I don't know if those lost sectors reset themselves every week. I don't know how this is going to react on a reset. Like, I'm going to be learning just as much as you guys are,
sure.
And trying to figure out the things that are going to be the most efficient for you guys. But the moving through do A and B, get rewarded for doing A and B. Do C and D, get rewarded for doing C and D. Not, I didn't get anything for that one this time. That appears to be gone, and there is a slight challenge to what you're working on. So you'll see. Again, I was only playing on my Titan. You'll see every once in a while I'm using my class ability, which is to put that ice shield up in front of me. You get that by pressing and holding C. That's something that's new. The Titans have the ice wall. The Hunters have this dodge evade thing. And then the Warlocks have a healing or an empowering rift.
Okay.
That they can put down, and that's your quote unquote your third ability. Like we talked about the leveling up, it appears that after you hit the XP level cap, every time that you level, you get one of those bright engrams, which is used as a turn in for other loot in the game. Completing lost sectors goes towards your challenges. Fighting Cabal goes towards your challenges for the day, and completing your challenges gets you more redeemable destination tokens, which in turn can get you more loot. So there is that.
All right. Do you want to get into the destination map at all, or any more than you? I know you kind of touched on it, but is there anything specific that we need to know about that destination map?
There's a couple of qualms that I have with it, and we don't know if this is going to be how it's going to be in the end game or not. But like I said, for the majority of the time that I was playing this, I was teamed up with the guy sitting to my right, and there would be a couple situations where he would be fire team leader, and he would click on like a public event, or he'd click on an adventure, and it wouldn't show for me.
Okay.
Which is going to kind of suck if that's how it ends up being in the game. And they also didn't even give you, like, kind of like Ghost Recon gave you that option of, like, Glenn has started this mission, hold L2 to join.
Sure.
It didn't have that option on there either, so I almost felt like I had to go into my destination map and be like, okay, where did you go? And, like, luckily we were sitting next to each other, so he would just pull the destination up and point at it, but we're not going to have that ability when you're... Huh. So, like, I thought that was a little weird, and, like, if he fast-traveled... I didn't fast travel with him, which is good and bad.
Sure.
Because like if he went somewhere and I didn't pick up my engram or whatever, like I would be kind of pissed. But so there was a couple weird things like that. Like it's like because you're in a fire team, you have a fire team leader, and he doesn't really control what goes on in your destination.
Okay.
So I thought that was a little weird. And I am concerned about long-term replayability of like lost sectors and stuff like that. Like, oh, okay, we're gonna go to the like 4 months into the game. Okay, we're gonna go to the EDZ and we're gonna go to this lost sector right here, and like I'm gonna walk through here blindfolded and sword this guy and be done. Like in terms of I don't know if that's gonna have any different variants to it, like different kind of enemies you might run into, or different kind of bosses, or different kind of like styles, or if it's just gonna be like this lost sector does this.
Oh, okay.
So that, that is a little bit slightly concerning to me. I don't see the opportunity for the lost sectors to necessarily grow, like where like more could appear, but it also could be something that I just wasn't paying enough attention to because it wasn't on my map like that. The destination map was nice because you're in the game, you're pressing and holding touchpad, you can kind of see where you want to go, or you can click a waypoint. You can go there. You can only waypoint certain things. You can waypoint public events. You can waypoint adventures. You cannot waypoint a lost sector. You cannot waypoint a regional chest, even though they show up on your map.
Yeah.
It's more or less like somebody kind of came to your map and marked it and said it's in this area.
Okay.
So you like I said, you can fast travel. There are public events that can be that can be user triggered. So you'll get to, like, it'll say that there's a public event there. You'll go to the public event. There's a flag sticking there. You'll see me do it in the video. I walk up to the flag, I hold square, and it says public event starting in 45 seconds.
Sure. So,
like, I can almost make a quote-unquote, like, on-demand public event. I can also just run right by it if I don't want to do it, and it won't interfere with the world.
Nice. That's actually cool, because, I mean, sometimes you would get sucked into a public event in the first game and not even realize it.
Correct.
All of a sudden, like, you're in a public event. You're like, what? Oh, I guess we'll go do it.
Yeah. So they're all, they're marked on your map. They also show up on your screen when you get close to them as well, that, hey, there's a public event just getting ready to start. The world still kind of goes dark for the brief time frame, like to let you know that, something's going on. The thing that was the most, interesting thing to me was, like I talked about, like, the high value target. Sometimes I wouldn't even realize that you're doing a public event. You see a yellow bar, you're fighting the yellow bar, you kill it, it drops loot, but the public event's still going on. You're like, oh, wait, I just killed a high-value target that just happened to, like, kind of wander in, like, hey, guys, what's going on?
Hey, can I borrow a cup of coffee?
So, stuff like that is cool. But, again, it just didn't feel like it was a waste of your time. Like, for you to you got something that, during that process, made you stronger.
Yeah, yeah.
The fast travel was nice. There's at least 3 destinations on EDZ where you can fast travel to, kind of one in each kind of like northern section, western section, southern section. There's a part of the map that we didn't go to very far, that we didn't get too close to in the northwestern section, because that kind of got near one of the missions that we weren't allowed to play. So where it was like, oh, you can't go over there. So there's just a lot to do, and at first it felt overwhelming, but then as you got more comfortable with it, as I got more comfortable with it, it kind of just felt like that's just how the game is going to be, and that's a good thing.
Sure, cool.
Like, there's things to do, and by doing those things, you get loot. Like goof around in the trailer where where they're always like, there's going to be a lot of loot. There is a lot of loot. It might not all be good, but there's a lot of loot.
Sure.
And then again, leveling up gives you engrams when you things like that. So I have more that I will be allowed to talk about very, very close to launch.
Right.
September 5th. I can't remember the exact time. I'm sorry, because so Destiny is doing a rolling launch, and it's by region. Destiny 2 is doing a rolling launch by region. So right. All of North America will be turned on at the same time.
The next embargo is September 5th at 7 a.m. Pacific time.
Right, which I believe is the time the game actually goes live, like in Australia.
Yeah.
So, bastards get it like 12 hours before I do. So.
Bloody Aussies.
So, yeah, I'll be able to, at that time, I'll be able to give you some impressions on the campaign. I will not, I promise, whether I'm recording with Glenn and Josh or I'm writing, I will not spoil the campaign. I promise.
Damn right.
That is something that PS Nation just does not do.
Well, plus, like that story's going to make any sense anyway. Come on. I mean, based on the first game. Although, I think the beta for Destiny 2 showed us more story than we ever saw in the first Destiny to begin with. I mean, the DLC told us a lot more, but...
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then I will not review this game. I will not give this game a scored review until I have done the raid. I just won't do it. So, that might have been the first time I said that out loud to Glenn. I don't know if he does or doesn't agree with that.
Oh, you're going to do the review. Well, and we're going to be streaming this game on launch day and probably the day after. I took a couple days off of work. Yeah, I took a couple days off work even, and I know you're off, and we're probably going to stream it on 2 different channels even, maybe one on Twitch, one on YouTube, something like that. So we'll have to firm up those details pretty soon, but definitely keep your eyes out and ears out because we're going to have a lot more coverage for this game, obviously.
Yeah, I'll put. We have a really cool Destiny 2 discussion thread going on in our forums.
Indeed.
And if you have any questions, please ask them in the forums. If I ignore you, it's because I can't answer you. But no, I'll probably tell you I don't know, or I can't talk about that.
Sure.
So I'll be pretty. You guys know me. Most of you that are part of the Destiny community know me, and I'm pretty open and honest. But there's some pretty epic stuff. There's some pretty epic surprises for everybody in this game. So.
But if you're watching this video and you don't know how to get to there, it's psnation.com/forums.
Yeah. And it'll be the one at the top because it's the one that matters the most in our community. So.
Yeah.
Stupid Warhawk Wednesday.
Quiet you.
So yes, thank you so much. There is a full write-up on the European Dead Zone impressions on psnation.com.
Indeed.
And I will talk to you guys, or you will read from me again shortly.